Hi, everyone. I've been pretty sick this past week, and last week I wanted to do this talk about Kennika Jenkins and her mother and all the new stuff I'm hearing. But like I said, I got sick, and so I'm going to try to get it out now while I feel okay. A little bit of backstory. Kennika Jenkins went out with friends to celebrate. They rented a hotel room. They borrowed her mom's car. And while partying, Kennika Jenkins consumed whatever. It could have been drugs and alcohol, just drugs, whatever it was. She was so intoxicated, it was hard for her to stand up straight. And we can see that through all the video evidence. Now, she was at the elevators. Her friends were with her. They were gonna go home, but somehow or another they found out or figured out Kennika Jenkins didn't have her stuff, her phone and whatnot. So they went back to the hotel room to get her stuff, but left her at the elevator. When the elevator came, Kennika Jenkins got on. She got off at whatever floor, started wandering around. At some point, she got into the basement. She got into a part of the hotel that was being renovated. And somehow or another, she got into a walk in freezer and died. Now, anyone can say, well, she was raped, she was this, she was that. The fact of the matter is, we really don't know. And so many people are like, we know, we know. You don't know shit. You only know what we've been able to see. So that's all we can really go by until more information comes out. Now, I had done videos on Kennika Jenkins in the past. I blame her friends for what happened to her. Now, let me explain to you why. Your friend is so fucked up from partying. She can't stand up straight, really. And you leave her to get her phone, her purse, whatever. I say, fuck her phone, fuck her purse, fuck her shit. Her life is more important than that stuff. It may take her a while to get that stuff back, but she herself is more important than a stupid cell phone and whatever else. And not one friend stayed behind with her. And I believe, because it's been a while since I've seen the videos, there was at least three friends with Kennika Jenkins. Not one stayed with her. Two could have gone back to the room. If there were only two friends, again, I say, fuck her belongings. She's more important. And if when she sobered up in the morning, she told your ass off, tell her, look, go fuck yourself. And that's it. Because she's more important than any stupid phone, purse, lipstick, ID. That stuff can be replaced. It may not be easy because of how much things cost, but Kennika Jenkins herself cannot be replaced. Now, the friends, returned Kennika Jenkins' car. Well, it was actually her mother's car. They borrowed it. They returned it to the mother. And the mother said to them, "Wait a minute, where's Kennika?" They said, "We don't know. She disappeared." What? They put the blame of everything solely on the hotel. And that was it. The friends have gotten off scot free and all this other stuff, which I don't like. It reminds me of, what was it called? The Cabo Six. They're basically off the hook for what they did to their friend. But let's do a little refresher course and actually look at pictures and really go over the story. Okay. Now, this site that I'm about to share, it says that there are graphic photos of Kennika Jenkins' body in the freezer and whatnot. So, fast forward the video. I don't know how long this is going to take, or just watch along. But viewer discretion is advised. This is from Newsweek.com. Graphic photos show Kennika Jenkins in freezer that family says raises more questions. Okay, first off, if that section of the hotel was being renovated, how come in the hours when there were no renovations being done, that area wasn't blocked off somehow? Because accidents do happen. I mean, Kennika Jenkins could have been a kid whose parents were at the hotel. The parents fell asleep watching a TV show. The kid gets up and goes wandering around. You know, I don't know why that area was so open, and it was easy for her to get into it. Now, yeah, in a lot of the videos, people say we see people around her, we see someone pull her, we see someone follow her. We can only go by what's here. Now, personally, I believe there's a lot more video that was never shown and has either been destroyed or is being held for blackmail by somebody when they decide they want something. But from what we've seen, Kennika Jenkins was just messed up on drugs, alcohol, whatever, and wandering around. Also, why was that freezer even turned on if that area of the hotel was under renovations? Why was it on? Why was it left on? I never heard a report saying, well, that area, even though it was still undergoing renovations, it was just about ready to use. I mean, like in a week or two. So they could have been testing out the freezer to make sure it still worked. Nothing was said of that. From what I remember, nobody knew why it was still left on or that it was on at all. Now, a lot of people said, well, how did Kennika know how to open it? Well, there was a report back then that the mother had worked somewhere where there was that kind of freezer. and Kennika was around her mother. So kids are either going to look and learn or the mother's going to teach her, you know? And before anybody starts, I am not laying blame on the mother yet. Right now, I'm just saying, when you take your kid to work, you explain what you do at your job to them. So, Kennika might have had the wherewithal to open the freezer thinking, okay, I'm hungry, let me see what I can get. Don't know. We weren't there with her. Okay, graphic photos show Kennika Jenkins in freezer that family says raises more questions. Graphic photos released on Friday. Now, this wasn't this Friday, this was back in 2017. Allow the public to see for the first time how Chicago teen Kennika Jenkins was found in a freezer. But her family says the images raise more questions than answers. The photos, while disturbing, help provide more insight into the case, which has been wrapped in controversy, rumors, and conspiracy theories since the 19-year-old was found dead on September 10th in a walk in freezer at Crown Plaza Hotel in Rosemont, a village 17 miles northwest of Chicago. Warning: the photos in this article are extremely graphic. The images were released because authorities have closed the investigation into the death. They were published online more than with more than 200 other documents. 911 calls and the video surveillance that lay out the probe into her death. The Jenkins family attorney Larry Rogers told the Chicago Tribune that the photos don't provide much comfort. To quote him, frankly, the photos depicting how Kennika was found raise more questions about what happened to Kennika Jenkins than they answer. He said that on the family's behalf. The images give a full tour of the hotel that Jenkins and friends had partied in before she stumbled through the halls of the building into a vacant kitchen and walk-in freezer. Okay. They show the path Jenkins took early September 9th, weaving from the hotel hallways through black double doors and into the corner of an old kitchen where she was found in a walk-in freezer. The pictures show the freezer littered with trash, dirt, and chunks of ice on the ground. And there's a picture of Kennika. Now, like I said, there were reports her mother worked in a place where they had a walk-in freezer, so Kennika probably knew how to get in. I'm not saying nothing happened to her. I'm just going by what's out there. This is how she was found. Okay, one of her shoes is off. Um, I'm not sure what she was wearing before all this, but I have heard that when hypothermia gets you or really sets in, you start to feel really hot. So you try to take off your clothes. That could have happened here. That could be why she's only got one sneaker on. I don't know. This right here is a hair tie, which a lot of girls and women will take their hair tie out of their hair and wear it like a bracelet. Okay? Somehow it came off her wrist. Right over here, let me try to enlarge this. To me, this looks like a lip gloss. I don't know why the lip gloss wasn't in her purse. Maybe she kept it in her pocket. But there's a lip gloss. Right here, this kind of looks like blood on her foot. Now, I've read the autopsy report. I've got it here pulled up, ready to go through soon. I didn't hear anything about blood or read anything about blood on her, but this right here looks like blood. Now, maybe it's something else, and because of the color of her skin, it looks different. I don't know. But they did talk about a bruise on her ankle in the autopsy report, which this looks like it could be it, and an older bruise on her thigh. But to me, this really does look like some kind of blood. Jenkins is photographed lying near the door, face down, wearing only one shoe, a pink tube of lip gloss, and a black hair tie flank her body. Her hair is wet and matted. Her right foot has a scratch, and her shoe is flung feet away. Okay, I don't remember seeing anything about a scratch in the autopsy report, but like I said, I got the PDF file. I'm going to read it again. Now, as for her hair being wet and matted, um, I don't know if she was wearing a wig or weave, but I do know once hair gets wet, as it's drying, it can bunch up a little. Whether you're black, white, or whatever, it can happen. And the wetness could could have been from her sweat or the liquid ice that was on the floor in the freezer, because when her body went on the floor, was put on the floor, she fell on the floor, I don't know. The warmth of her body could have melted some ice there and gotten into her hair. It's possible. Okay, there's her other shoe. I'm just going over the picture. There's a piece of wood here. Wow, if they were renovating that area, they certainly didn't wash out the freezer. Now, this stuff could be dirt. It could be feces. Or it could be blood. I don't know. This looks like some kind of money. I can't enlarge it anymore. Some kind of silver coin. And there's the contusion and bruise on her ankle that the autopsy mentioned. Okay. Jenkins' jean pants were covered in dirt. Okay. That freezer was filthy. So if she got into the freezer on her own, I'm saying if, there could have been a process of her rolling on the floor trying to get comfortable because she was really out of it, really messed up. Oh, and by the way, there were two guys in that room they were partying with. You can't rule them out that maybe they did something. You just can't. Because again, I believe there's a ton of video footage we just never got to see. So if something was definitely done to her, it could have been those two. Because there was so much, even phone camera footage of where her friends were saying, "Don't worry, we're going to make sure you get pregnant," because, of course, 19 years old, you have to be pregnant and have a baby. You just have to. It's the in thing to do. Or you could go get welfare money, or you could this, or you could that, or any stupid thing these kids come up with. Oh, don't worry, we're going to get you pregnant is a stupid thing to say. That's why I'm calling them kids. Images of two of the freezer thermostats show the temperature at 45 degrees for one and about 32 degrees for the other, but it is unclear whether the photos were taken after the freezer had been open for a while, allowing the temperature to rise. Okay, now to me, 45 degrees does not equal hypothermia. 32 degrees? Especially given the way she's dressed, possible. Let's see. Okay. What temperature can hypothermia start? 35 degrees Celsius. Wait a minute. Hypothermia is a medical emergency where the body temperature drops below 95 degrees. Uh, okay, Centers for Disease Control. What do they say? While hypothermia is most likely at very cold temperatures, it can occur even at cool temperatures above 40 degrees Fahrenheit if a person becomes chilled from rain, sweat, or submersion in cold water. Okay? So with the sweat that was on her, it could have happened hypothermia. Uh I still don't understand why, if they were renovating that area, this freezer was still on and working. I don't understand that. This is another view of how she was found. Those are the two double doors they talked about, which I don't think they're that heavy. I mean, Kennika Jenkins was 19. She wasn't 2. So she could have pushed her way to get in. Let's see. Here's another look at the area it was in. It's a kitchen area. But I want to know why that wasn't blocked off somehow. Why they didn't find a way to put locks on the door. Because to me, no matter what age you are, people are idiots. If they want to go exploring and see something that's like, ooh, I wonder what's in there. Most people today, and that's including when this happened, would probably feel like, oh, let's go check it out. They're not going to say, well, we're really not supposed to be here. Let's go back to our room or something. No, they're going to be nosy and go in there. So the hotel should have taken other precautions and blocked all this off. Now I'm wondering, is this holding this door open? It does look like there's a doorknob here, but maybe on the door Kennika Jenkins was in didn't have a doorknob on the inside. So if this thing is being used to hold it open, it could be possible. I'm just saying it's possible. Her being so messed up, she was able to get in, the door closed, and she couldn't get out. Possible. There's the temperature gauge. There's Kennika again. And again, a lot of people might say, well, look, her ass is half hanging out. That means somebody tried doing something to her. It could mean that. It could also mean she was one of these girls who liked what was called at one point a coin slot, right here, the crack in the ass. The coin slot hanging out, thinking it looks sexy. This could have happened while she was rolling around. All I'm saying is, we weren't there. We don't know. We can only go by what's been put out there. Okay, that's it for pictures. The next thing is we're going to go to the autopsy report. Let me make sure I'm sharing this. And I know there are going to be assholes who are going to go to this video and say, look, she's being racist. She's going back to be racist. Blah, 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 blah. No, the reason I'm doing this is because of the mother. The mother was causing protests outside the hotel. In order to get her to stop and to shut up, the hotel offered her a settlement of $10 million. She took it and she stayed quiet until now. And why now? The money ran out and she wants more money for the loss of her daughter. And that pisses me off. To me, that mother is a piece of shit. There is no amount of money I don't care about burying my kid, because my kid is gone at that point. The only thing left is his body. There is no amount of money that they could give me that would shut me up if I thought there was foul play involved and they're fucking around. No money. This bitch took money, and when it ran out, she went to them for more, and they said, no, we gave you, you signed an NDA, that's it. Nowadays, a lot of people feel like, fuck the NDAs, I want more money. I want whatever money I want for the rest of my life. There needs to be stiffer penalties for this kind of bullshit. You accepted the money? Now do what you said you were gonna do and shut up. Okay? So here's the autopsy report. Office of the Medical Examiner, County of Cook, Illinois. Report of postmortem examination. Name, Kennika L. Jenkins. Age 19. Race black, sex female. Date death pronounced September 10th, 2017. Date examined September 10th, 2017, 10 a.m. Examined by, excuse me, Kristen E. Howell, MD. Supervising medical examiner, Kristen Escobar Alvarenga, MD. External examination. The body is clothed in a white bra top, blue denim jacket, blue jeans, and purple underwear. Accompanying the body is a left gray shoe. Okay. Cook County Morgue identification bands are on the bilateral great toe and the right wrist. The body is that of a normally developed, well-nourished adult black female. The body weighs 159 pounds, is 66 inches in length, and appears compatible with the reported age of 19 years old. For those of you who don't know what that means, she seemed to be a normal, healthy 19-year-old girl. She seemed to be fine before all this stuff happened. The body is cool following refrigeration. Rigor mortis is well developed and symmetrical in the upper and lower extremities, neck, and jaw. Fixed red-purple lividity is present on the left anterior and posterior surfaces of the body, except in the areas exposed to pressure. The body is well preserved and is not embalmed. Okay, what that means. The body, I think rigor mortis, it takes like 7 to 8 hours to set in. So she was dead at least 7 to 8 hours. Okay? Rigor mortis was there in both parts of her body, upper and lower. Okay? So She was stiff, not just from the freezer or being cold or whatever, because of rigor mortis. Um, the red purple lividity, that might be the blood settling. I mean, she was found laying on her left side. So when a body's dead, the body's not pumping blood. The blood just lays there. So it might have just, in essence, went to that end of the body. And it wasn't embalmed, meaning like in a funeral home, they embalm you. They take your organs out, blood, whatever they have to, and they do the embalming process. That was not done here. A long black weave is attached to the natural black scalp hair, which is braided. The eyes are closed. Long black false eyelashes are on the upper eyelids. The irides or irides are brown. The corneas are clear. The conjunctivae are mildly hypodermic and free of pechae, petache on the bulbar and palpebral surfaces. The external auditory canals, nares, and oral cavity are free of foreign material and abnormal secretions. No, no calvario or facial fractures are present. The ears are normally developed and have no trauma. Each earlobe is remotely pierced twice. Okay, long black weave. If you know the process of weaving hair into your own hair, from what I've seen, there are braids and the fake hair is weaved into those braids and fixed a certain way to look long or whatever. Um the eyes are closed. Which, okay, I gotta put the fan on. Being sick and whatever. Just 1 second, I'm sorry. And I hope it's not too loud. Okay, from what I know, when a body dies, the eyes always die open. So if they're closed, that could be a sign of like somebody having remorse over what they did and they closed her eyes. So I'm actually going to look that up now. Let's see. According to Google, when a person dies, their eyes can be opened or closed. It depends on muscle relaxation, the circumstances of death, like sudden trauma versus peaceful sleep, and bodily changes. But many people die with their eyes partially open because the eyelid muscles relax and it takes effort to close them fully. Okay, so if we're supposed to think this is natural death, it's quite possible when she got on the floor, she passed out or she fell asleep. That's one explanation. The other one is somebody was in there and closed her eyes. Now, that could have happened by the person who did something to her if something was done to her, or it could have been done by the person who found her. It could have been done by somebody else. Don't know. But those are the things that could have happened. And there was nothing in her mouth that was abnormal. Now, to me, any secretions from like oral sex, or even if she was raped and the guy stuck his dick in her mouth, that to me would be an abnormal secretion in the mouth given the circumstances. I mean, she wasn't found dead in bed naked and the guy saying, well, we had sex before, like an hour before or whatever. So there was nothing abnormal in her mouth. Okay? Let's see. The nose has a palpably intact bridge and septum. The lips and frenula are intact, which to me say, okay, I'm going to read it first and then okay. The teeth are natural and in good repair. Examination of the neck reveals no external evidence of injury. The chest and breasts are symmetrical. No breast masses are palpable. Each nipple is remotely pierced once, and there each nipple is remotely pierced once, and there is a multicolored barbell type stud in each piercing defect. The abdomen is slightly rounded. The pubic hair is shaved. The external genitalia are those of a normal adult female and are free of injury or abnormality. The clitoral hood is remotely pierced by a white metal barbell type stud and is in the piercing defect. Okay, it says in the stud is in the piercing defect. The posterior torso is without note. The anus and perineum are atraumatic and unremarkable. The back and buttocks have no traumatic abnormalities. The upper and lower extremities are well developed and symmetrical. There are no deformities, pitting edema, or palpable fractures. The fingernails are covered by intact artificial nails covered by white nail polish. The toenails are covered by white nail polish. Okay, so her nose was not broken. She didn't have a split lip. Her teeth were great. And there was no sign of strangulation. The chest and breast were normal. There were no signs anything had been done to them. Now, again, I'm not saying that the person doing the autopsy report not lying. No, I'm just saying this is what I'm reading. And the abdomen is slightly rounded. Well, her mother said in an interview, I believe it was on a radio show, that Kennika was trying to get fat. I don't know why, because she didn't look like no twig, but she was trying to gain weight. So a rounded belly would be normal. Pubic hair is shaved. There is nothing wrong with the genitals, the butt, the anal opening, nothing. There are no traumatic abnormalities, which shows there was no rape. Now, again, I'm not saying she wasn't raped. I'm just reading what's here. And she had fake nails on, okay? They're intact, which states she wasn't fighting somebody off, because if you're in a vigorous fight for your life, you're not going to go, oh, I don't want to break a nail. The nails might be broken, chipped, or something. That wasn't the case. It just wasn't. And I'm only going by, again, what I'm reading. Yes, all of this could have been falsified, but we have no proof of that. So this is all we can go by. And the toenails are covered by white nail polish, which doesn't say anything of chipping anywhere or whatever. So again, the idea that she took her shoe off, and from reports of what I remember of the clothes looking like, hypothermia could have been setting in. She could have felt hot and tried taking her clothes off. Did she really succeed? From what we see, no. Could it be she was naked and somebody got her dressed again and halfway through felt like, oh, fuck it, and just put the clothes on, however, and threw the shoe in the freezer? Yes, that could have happened. I can't say it did not happen. This is what I'm reading. Okay, tattoos, scars, and identifying marks. Tattoos documented photographically are on the lower right and left sides of the abdomen and back. Evidence of injury. A 1.5 by 1.25 inch red purple irregular abrasion is on the lateral right ankle. Now we saw that in the pictures. That's near where there it looked like there was blood on her foot. That blood could have come from the abrasion. How could an abrasion happen? She could have been kicking her feet around. Maybe she thought she was home, trying to kick blankets so she could get warm. Or if something was being done to her, it could have happened. But it is a very tiny abrasion. A 1.5 by a 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch ill-defined purple contusion is on the posterolateral right leg, which means there was another bruise. How it got there? Again, we can only go by what evidence we have. Body cavities, which is part of the internal examination. The body is opened by the usual. If you've ever seen horror movies with autopsies, it looks like there's a Y cut into the chest and part of the abdomen and whatever. That's how they open it up. I don't know what this word right here is. Thoracombo, abdominal, whatever. One second. Okay. The body cavity is open in a wide incision, and the chest plate is removed. No adhesions or abnormal collections of fluid are in any of the body cavities. All body organs are present and normal anatomic positions. The subcutaneous fat layer of the abdominal wall is 2 centimeters thick at the umbilicus. Uh, okay. All this means no organs were missing, which there was something going on back then about this was about organ harvesting. And somebody wanted to harvest her organs. According to this, all her organs were where they should be. And there was nothing wrong. The head. The scalp is incised and reflected in the usual manner. The intrascalp and subscalp regions have no contusions or hemorrhages. The calvaria of the skull base is intact without bony abnormalities or fractures. The dura mater and falx cerebri are intact and unremarkable. There are no epidural, subdural, or subarachnoid hemorrhages. The 1350-gram brain is normal in shape. The leptomeninges, there's a lot of words here. Leptomeninges are thin, delicate, and without exudates. The cerebral hemispheres are symmetrical with mild edema as characterized by flattening of the gyri and narrowing of the sulci. I know I'm butchering these words, but these words are horrific to say. Uh, the cerebral vessels have no aneurysms or scoliosis. The cranial nerves are normally developed. Sections through the cerebral hemispheres reveal no focal lesions to the cortex, white matter, or deep nuclear structures. Sectioning of the brain stem and cerebellum shows no focal abnormalities. The ventricular system is of normal size, shape, and configuration. Basically, what this is saying, she had nothing wrong with her head. I didn't see anything in there that would suggest she was hit in the head. As she fell down, she got hit in the head, or she hit her head. Nothing like that. Okay? So that tells me she laid down. Maybe what she was on and partying with was getting to her and she just laid down. When your body tells you to lay down and you're in that shape, you may not care what you lay in. Let's see. The neck. An in situ layered anterior neck dissection reveals no subcutaneous or intramuscular hemorrhage. The tongue is intact and has no bite marks or contusions. The hyoid bone is laryngeal cartilage are intact. The epiglottis is unremarkable. The atlanto-occipital articulation is stable. An in situ layer posterior neck dissection reveals no subcutaneous or intramuscular hemorrhage. No cervical fractures are are visualized or palpated, which says to me, which you could go look this up. This is all available online. She wasn't strangled. There were reports back then she was strangled. According to this, she wasn't strangled. Okay? Cardiovascular system. The pericardial sac is intact. It has smooth, glistening surfaces and is free of significant fluid or adhesions. The heart weighs 242 grams. The coronary arteries arise normally, follow the usual distribution, and are widely patent with no evidence of atherosclerosis or thrombosis. The chambers and valves exhibit the usual size position relationships and are unremarkable. The tricuspid valve circumference is 10.2 centimeters. The pulmonary valve is 5.6 centimeters. The mitral valve is 8.5 centimeters. And the aortic valve is 5.5 centimeters. The myocardium is red, brown, and firm with no focal lesions. The arterial and ventricular septa are intact. The left ventricular wall is 1.3 centimeters thick. The septum is 1 centimeter, and the right ventricle is 0.3 centimeters. Every time they say something is unremarkable, that basically means there's nothing wrong with it. It's not swollen, it's not nothing. The aorta and its major branches arise normally, follow the usual course, and are widely patent. The intimal surface of the aorta is free of atherosclerosis. The cavae, vena cavae, and their major tributaries return to the heart in the usual distribution and are free of thrombi, which basically means they were fine. Respiratory system. The upper airway is clear of debris and foreign material. The most surfaces are smooth, pink tan, and unremarkable. The pleural surfaces are smooth and glistening with no focal lesions. The pulmonary parenchyma is deep purple with is deep purple, exhibiting slight to moderate amounts of bloody fluid upon sectioning. No mass lesions are noted. There is a mild anthracosis. The right lung is bilobate. No middle lobe is present. The pulmonary arteries are normally developed, patent, and without thrombose or embolos. The right lung weighs 238 grams and the left lung weighs 193 grams. Now, the only thing I really understood about that part was unremarkable. In other words, things were fine. Why one lung weighs so much more than the other, I don't know. But again, I'm just reading to you what's here. Hepatobiliary system. The liver weighs 1,176 grams. The hepatic capsule is smooth, glistening, and intact, and covers a moderately firm red brown parenchyma. No nodules or lesions are identified. No fibrosis is visible or palpable. Palpable, I'm sorry. The gallbladder contains approximately 20 milliliters of watery, I'm assuming it's milliliters, of watery green brown bile. The muscoa is velvety and unremarkable. The extrahepatic biliary tree is patent, without evidence of calculi. To me, that says normal. Everything seems normal. Why there's green bile? It might be because of what she ingested. She might have been starting to get sick and maybe ready to puke. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. Um, Alimentary system. The esophagus is lined by gray pink, smooth mucosa. The gastric mucosa is slightly otolized and normally rugated. There are scattered punctate to 0.3 centimeters black, flat lesions on the gastric mucosa. The lumen contains trace mucoid material. No tablets or capsules are noted. The small and large intestines are unremarkably externally. The appendix is present. Again, they're using the word unremarkable, which means there isn't a problem. Okay? The genitourinary system. The right kidney weighs 136 grams. The left kidney weighs 159 grams. The renal capsules are smooth, thin, semi transparent, and strip with ease from the underlying smooth, slightly lubricated, lobulated, red-brown cortical surfaces. The cortices are sharply delineated from the medullary pyramids, which are purple, tan, and unremarkable. The calyces pelvis and ureters are without note. The urinary bladder contains trace yellow urine. The bladder mucosa is tan, pink, and unremarkable. The uterus is pink, tan, glistening serosa, and unremarkable. Myometrium and endometrium. The vaginal vault is atraumatic and unremarkable. Both ovaries are of normal size with cerebriform external surfaces. No lesions of the ovaries are identified. The fallopian tubes are unremarkable. There is no evidence of intrauterine pregnancy. She was not pregnant. She wasn't pregnant. And they're saying the uterus was normal too, which means no sexual activity probably was detected. And with a rape, there could be rips and tears and who knows what. But let's go on. Hemolymphatic, hemolymphatic system. The 93-gram spleen is covered by a smooth blue-gray and intact capsule. The parenchyma is firm and red-purple, without masses or nodules. The regional lymph nodes appear normal. The thymus is not identified. Okay, I don't know what a thymus is, but it's saying unidentified. I'd like to know what that is. The thymus is a vital butterfly shaped primary lymph node organ located in the upper chest behind the breastbone and between the lungs. So I don't know what not identified means. Maybe it wasn't there. Maybe she had a medical procedure that took it out. I have no clue, but it's not identified. Endocrine system. The pituitary is unremarkable. The thyroid gland is of normal position, size, and texture. The adrenal glands have normal cut surfaces with yellow cortices and golden brown medullae. The pancreas is a pink yellow lobulated appearance without hemorrhage. The pancreatic ducts are clear. No hemorrhage means there was nothing wrong. It wasn't bleeding or nothing. Um, musculo musculoskeletal system. The vertebral column, pelvis, and long bone of the extremities are intact without palpable fractures. The skeletal muscle is uniformly red brown with no muscular atrophy. The diaphragm is intact. Now, if she was bed up or something, that might not be the case. The pelvis, they're saying, is fine. Let's see what else they say. Specimens submitted. A DNA blood stain card is retained. Samples of vitreous liquid, central blood, peripheral blood, bile, and urine are submitted to the toxicology laboratory for analysis. Sections of various organs are submitted for microscopic analysis. Sections of organs are retained. Now, what that means, they took little specimens from the organs. They cut off pieces of her organs in order to send off for testing. Pathological findings. Cold exposure. A, she was found in a walk in freezer, which was done through the investigation. B, Wisconsin lesions in the stomach. Ethanol and torpirate intoxication. Ethanol in peripheral blood. Ethanol in vitreous humor. Topiramate in peripheral blood. Visibly impaired. That's what we saw in the investigation. Superficial blunt force injuries. Blunt force injuries. There's an abrasion of the lateral right ankle, which we saw in the pictures, and contusion of posterolateral right leg, which we did not see because her pants were on. But all this is saying she was intoxicated. Cerebral edema, non-specific. Okay, now I think a cerebral edema means there was something wrong with her head. Let's see. Okay. Cerebral edema is a dangerous brain swelling from excessive fluid caused by trauma, stroke, infections, tumor, or high altitude, leading to increased pressure inside the skull that restricts blood oxygen, causing severe headaches, vomiting, confusion, seizures, and potentially death if untreated. Now, they also said there was bile found in her, so that could mean whatever she was intoxicated with was messing with her brain. Because remember, in the beginning of the report, they found nothing wrong with her scalp, i.e., nothing hit it. And then they're also saying bilobate right lung. Now, this is their opinion from all the evidence they were able to get, the scientific evidence. This 19-year-old black female, Kennika Jenkins, died of hypothermia due to cold exposure in a walk in freezer. Ethanol and topiramate intoxication were significant contributing factors in her death, which means, according to this, there was no attack. She was intoxicated, went somewhere she shouldn't have been, and basically froze to death. According to investigation, the I'm going to say deceased because that word is weird for me, decedent. The deceased was found unresponsive in a freezer in a walk in dual compartment cooler and freezer unit, which was located in an unused kitchen of the hotel. Police and emergency medical personnel determined that the deceased was dead at the scene. Video surveillance recorded the deceased entering the kitchen alone at approximately 0332 hours, which might be 3 o'clock in the morning, 3:30 in the morning. It could mean that. On September 9th, 2017. But recordings do not clearly show her entering the hotel walk in dual compartment cooler and freezer unit, which means they had no cameras in that area, which I really don't understand why they would not have cameras in that area. I mean, you have cameras everywhere else, but not there. And if they had cameras there and removed them, the investigation would have seen that. Police and emergency medical personnel determined that the deceased was dead on the scene. I read that. Video surveillance clearly showed her walking. She was discovered unresponsive in the freezer approximately 21 hours after she was documented entering the kitchen. So, whatever was going on, it took almost 24 hours for them to find her. Okay, it's part of the hotel that is not being used. So maybe even some of the employees at the hotel thought, well, that area's got to be blocked off. How can anybody get in? But it wasn't blocked off. Um, Per investigation, the walk-in dual compartment cooler and freezer unit was operational, although not currently in use by the hotel. Well, considering it was in use for some reason. They may not have had a whole bunch of food in it, whatever, but it was working. The doors of both the cooler and freezer had external handles and must be pulled to open, and both doors were equipped with a circular functional internal door opening mechanism. Which means, like what I said when we were looking at the pictures, there was a doorknob she could have turned to get out. If she opened it to get in, and it wasn't that heavy that she was able to open it to walk in, she would have been able to turn the knob and open it to get out, unless there was some kind of self locking mechanism or something. Because the doorknob looked like a doorknob. It didn't look like a key could go in or anything. The freezer was empty, and the temperature within the walk in freezer was 34 degrees Fahrenheit, approximately 2 hours after the discovery. Note, the doors of the cooler and freezer had been open for approximately 2 hours when this temperature was recorded. The freezer had the capacity to go to 8 degrees Fahrenheit. If that was at 8 degrees Fahrenheit, I don't see how she could have survived. A, a fucking dog with a big bushy coat, I don't think would have been able to survive almost 24 hours in an 8-degree freezer. At autopsy, the body was not frozen. The stomach demonstrated Wiskevsky lesions. I gotta look that up. What is that? Because they're saying that again. With these spots or lesions are dark hemorrhagic, non-scrapable lesions. Could that word be lesions? Lesions in the stomach lining, classically associated with fatal hypothermia, but also found in other conditions like severe diabetic ketoacidosis or poisoning, indicating intense stress, shock, or metabolic derangement, not just cold. Okay, it says associated with hypothermia. And the brain was anamnesis, swollen. The autopsy did not reveal any trauma that would have caused or contributed to her death. A superficial abrasion, scrape, on her right ankle and a contusion, a bruise, was on the right leg. There was no other evidence of external or internal trauma. Post-mortem toxicology was remarkable for ethanol, which was identified in the peripheral blood and a concentration of 112 mg/dl, and in the vitreous humor at a concentration of 150 mg/dl. Now remember, during this whole thing, they kept saying unremarkable, which meant it was normal. The ethanol in her system was remarkable. So let's see. Ethanol is a colorless, flammable liquid alcohol used in beverages, fuels, and as a solvent in products like hand sanitizers, perfumes, and paints. Also known as ethyl alcohol, is produced by fermenting sugars and is mixable with water, acting as a disinfectant, preservative, or fuel additive. But it says it's in alcoholic beverages. They were partying. She was so intoxicated. We saw that in the videos. Go look up the videos. I am not putting them on here. You watch those videos, you can tell she was out of it. Uh, Toppermate was also identified in the peripheral blood at a concentration of 3,000 ng/ml. Now let's see what that drug is. Topiramate is an anticonvulsant medication used primarily to treat seizures and prevent migraine headaches. Let's see, according to the Cleveland Clinic, this medicine may be used for other purposes. Um, so if this is used for people who have seizures and whatever, it's one of these drugs that people take to get high. So she was on drugs, she was on alcohol. Um, these drugs can cause increased somnolence, impaired memory and concentration, poor coordination, confusion, and impaired judgment. Central nervous system depression combined with cold exposure can hasten the onset of hypothermia and death. And we've all heard drinking booze does not warm you up. It actually lowers your body temperature. Cause of death hypothermia due to cold exposure in a walk in freezer with ethanol and tropamate intoxication as significant contributory conditions. Manner of death accident. She took the drug and the booze willingly because she was partying. Oh no, well, I still say this, I still say that. All this other stuff could have happened to her. Could have. But everybody says follow the science. Here's the science. She was high, she was drunk. Her friends left her alone in that condition. Her friends did not look like they were as impaired as her. And they were actually able to drive the fuck home and drop the car off to the mother and say, well, we don't know where she is. And the mother never said, when the friends were talking to her, they seemed drunk or impaired. So it could be, like some rumors were suggesting back then, the friends drugged her drink. I still blame the friends for leaving her alone. Yeah, she may have gotten mad at the friends for leaving her wallet there, purse, whatever, for leaving her phone there, but at least she would still be alive to complain about it. Now, mother of teenager found dead in walk-in freezer reaches $10 million settlement. What are you doing? Are you kidding me? You're making it so I gotta fucking. I ain't signing it. Let's see if I can find another one. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Now, this is according to Google. The settlement related to Kennika Jenkins' death involved her mother, Teresa Martin, who filed a lawsuit against the Crown Plaza Hotel. Oh, I'm sorry, Crown Plaza Chicago O'Hare Hotel. After a lengthy legal battle, the family reached a $10 million settlement in 2003, which has sparked significant public interest and controversy. Martin has claimed that she was pressured into accepting the settlement and felt coerced into silence about her daughter's tragic circumstances, stating that she was promised lies and that her family was forced to accept what they were given. The case has raised questions about safety protocols and accountability in hotels as the hotels as the hotel was found to have failed to secure the walk-in freezer where Jenkins was found dead. I don't want to hear the mother felt pressured and forced. Because with all the media that was on her side, she could have gone to them and said, look, the hotel keeps pressuring me to take a settlement. I do not want to take a settlement. Even when she got the settlement and was spending it and was having fun, she didn't open her mouth. When did she open her mouth? After she went to the hotel and said, the money's gone, I want more. This woman, in my opinion, sold her daughter out for $10 million. Now she wants more, so she's playing the victim. I am sick and tired of people playing victim. How come she has never gone after the daughter's friends? Ah, because the daughter's friends have no money. Don't play. Oh, taking those drugs and drinking, that was legal. The drinking might have been legal. The drug was not. Not for her. The friends left her alone in that intoxicated state. You could see on the video the friends were not as bad as she was. Yet they didn't think about getting her, but they did think about getting her purse and her phone. And I never heard word one that they were able to retrieve her purse and phone. I never heard. Now this doesn't mean it didn't happen, but I never heard even the mother say, "Yeah, they handed me her purse and phone." They did bring the car back because they didn't want to get in trouble for having a car they had no business having. Kennika borrowed the car for this. Kennika was the one in charge of that car. And the way she was, There was no way she would have been able to drive. How were the friends able to drive if they were drinking and taking the drug too? She sold her daughter for money. Period. Now it's gone. She wants more, and she's playing the fool. No, 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 no. You got your settlement. Now shut the fuck up. I say now throw this bitch in prison because she broke the NDA. Now, a lot of people could say, well, why was there an NDA in the first place? Because there was $10 million exchanging hands. Nobody wanted this to continue. If the mother wanted it to continue, it would have continued. How come she didn't open up her mouth when she was spending the $10 million? She's only opening up her mouth now that it's gone. I have no use for this woman. No one should have any use for this woman. She is a dirty piece of shit. There is no amount of money in the world who could keep my mouth shut. If my son died under mysterious circumstances in a hotel and was found in a freezer that should not even have been working because that whole area was under renovation, I do not blame the hotel. And I know a lot of people in the sector of YouTube I'm in, if they watch this video, they'll say, of course not. The hotel is owned by white people. Fuck you and that racial bullshit. You want to play racial bullshit? This is another case of black people selling out their own. She sold out her daughter for $10 million and then thought she could get more. And when she couldn't, that's when she started opening her mouth. I blame the friends, and not because the friends were black. How do you leave a friend in that condition alone? How? And the mother only had just a couple of questions for the friends, but for the rich hotel, she had 1,000,001, actually 10 million. And she decided to shut up all the questions because she got money. Kennika Jenkins was drunk, was left alone in that state, and wandered into a place she should not have been. But her friends should have had. How were they even going to get home if Kaninka borrowed the car off her mother? She was in no condition to drive. So one of them had to have been in a good enough condition to drive. Did they tell the hotel staff before they left the hotel, look, our friend is missing? And if they did, and they did nothing, did they then call the cops and say, look, we were partying, drinking, we left her at the elevator door, told her to wait here, we'll go get your purse, we'll go get your phone. When we got back, she was gone. Nobody knows where she is. We went to the hotel staff, they said nothing. We asked them to check the cameras to see if she actually left the hotel. Nothing. But they returned the car. And they weren't even going to tell the mother anything. If that mother had just taken the keys and went inside and assumed, oh, she might have just gone to the corner store to get a bag of chips or something, those friends wouldn't have said anything. This is like George Floyd. Derek Chauvin killed him. No, he didn't. He was loaded with fentanyl. It's enough. They all knew taking that drug was illegal. They chose to do it because they wanted to get high and feel happy and all this other shit. Okay? The friends and even the mother handled this wrong. The mother sold out her daughter for $10 million. And when she wanted more, that's when again she tried to play the good, decent, grieving mother. This was not a case of murder. It was not a case of organ harvesting. Those friends did not get in trouble for anything they did or said. But the hotel has to be responsible for the rest of the mother's life because her daughter chose to take a drug she had no business taking, booze it up, and her friends took it upon themselves to leave her alone in the condition she was. Oh, well, the hotel's white. Yeah, you got him. No. Black people need to sit down and knock their crap off. The friends are responsible for this. Because if even one of them had stayed with her, she would be alive today. If they had said, fuck her phone, fuck her purse, we'll call the hotel tomorrow and see if the cleaning lady found it or whatever. No. They wanted to get home so they could be safe. But they weren't going to mention Kennika. There's your problem. On to the next video.